actions told this story that hard work and achievement dictated my value as a person. Hey dancers, it's Kirsten. Welcome back to the Confident Dancer YouTube channel. Today I'm going to riff off of an Instagram post I made a little bit ago, maybe a couple weeks ago, by the time this is getting posted, on things I used to believe as a ballet dancer that I don't believe anymore. I think whether you do ballet or some other genre of dance, or no matter, maybe if you, I know people who watch this channel who don't even dance, so also welcome to you. I think no matter where you're at, these takeaways or lies I don't believe anymore, I do believe they're lies, that's why I don't believe them. I think they will provide some sort of insight or inspiration for you, hopefully. At the very least, I hope they get your mind going in an empowering direction to kind of question what are some beliefs that you've been holding on to or acting out of in your life that might not be working for you, and you can use curiosity to ask questions and challenge them, all right? Because change is possible. As a coach, I'm a huge believer in questioning our belief systems so that we can develop a healthier view of ourselves, our dancing, and we can just dance in a much more empowered, confident, and healthy way. So let's get into these 5 things I used to believe that I don't believe anymore. Number 1, I used to genuinely believe, whether I would verbally acknowledge it or not, my actions told this story that hard work and achievement dictated my value as a person. I very much had this sense of pride that I have a memory of feeling this feeling. I was at the Houston Ballet Academy dancing there year round, and I just remember this feeling of like no pain, no gain, no guts, no glory, and like this feeling of pride and like ego that would just like flourish inside of me when I would just prove that I could hustle harder or I could deny my needs more. And there's a lot of that culture, not only in schools like that, but just in the dance world in general. And though hard work is a helpful thing, it can be a healthy thing, and achievement can also be a wonderful thing. If we put those 2 qualities on a pedestal and then tie them to our sense of worth and value as a person, you will absolutely burn yourself out, have guilt resting, have a lot of fear around resting. You will probably have no boundaries around like needing to rest, boundaries with your body, taking time for yourself. Like for me, I definitely think this mentality not only caused me to be very robotic as a person and to have a lot of rigid thinking, which is associated with higher levels of mental health issues down the line, as opposed to flexible thinking, which is the ability to think more in the gray and to be flexible with yourself, instead of rigid thinking is like, hard work is good, so I must always work hard. It's like, okay, well, in the truth, there's some nuance around that is very helpful to embrace. So it led me into a lot of very rigid ways of thinking, which led to very rigid rules with myself about how I should live. And there's so many trickle-down effects for me that I noticed in my life when I was younger, when I was very bought into these belief systems, that I'm so glad I've been able to untangle those belief systems, and it's just done a lot of good for me in my life. And I want to say that, again, hard work and achievement can be great things. Those are 2 things I still value, but to an extent. I can see where the line is now that I couldn't see that anymore. So that is number 1. Number 2, I used to believe that pushing through pain was noble. Okay, pushing through discomfort is different than pushing through pain. Pain and discomfort can feel very similar, but I think the more mature you get as a person, and hopefully as an artist, a dancer, you hopefully will start to see and feel the difference. There is a fine line. Pushing through discomfort it can be a very empowering thing. There are a lot of benefits to that. It can help you to grow mentally. It can grow you in your mental and emotional and personal resilience. It can help you grow in your character. It can definitely and obviously help you improve physically as a dancer. However, when we mix that up in our heads and prioritize or actually gain a sense of moral superiority around pushing through pain, which, to be completely honest, I used to have that. I literally felt like a more noble, better person for pushing through my pain signals, because I was like, that means I'm strong. Strong to me was a moral judgment. That means I'm being a strong, hardworking, good, devoted person. Where did that end me up? Knee surgery. I wouldn't recommend it. And guess what? I had so many great people along the way. Some teachers definitely played into that toxic way of thinking, and I want to give a shout out to some teachers I had that actually were like, hey, you should sit out. Hey, you should stop. There weren't that many of them, but thank you to, I don't remember even all the names, but I do know and want to acknowledge that some people were looking out for me, but I was still so bought into this belief around no, I have to push. And a scarcity mindset around oh, I won't have any opportunities if I stop now and I rest. I was so bought into it that I literally didn't listen to them. And now, of course, here I am being the one who's sharing that with the younger generation, and I know they're probably going to do the same thing. That's why experience truly is the best teacher, and it's okay that I went through what I went through, but it's still worth mentioning it on the internet. So I hope maybe to at least one of you, those words of caution will save you some pain. The third one, and I'm going to read this off of my notes, is that what makes your dance journey valid is the level you attained, technically, the competitions you won, or the size of the company you dance for. There are so many wonderful people I've talked to in the dance world who are so passionate about dance. They love it, and they've been dancing for years. But just because maybe they took the recreational route and not the professional route, or I have friends who took the professional route, but they're like, oh, I danced for this big company, but I was only an apprentice, so I wasn't really a professional. It's okay, we can really nitpick, and sure, I guess things could be true, oh, I wasn't really a professional, but I just see this trend, and I used to believe it too, that basically if you didn't accomplish these flashy milestones that are social signals to other people, oh, I really did something in the dance world, that your dance journey isn't valid. Or I notice dancers I've talked to who again might have taken the recreational route, they have wonderful insights to share. They have valid experiences or challenges that they want to talk through. But I hear them invalidating themselves oh, but I probably don't know what it's really like because I wasn't a professional. Or I know it's not that big of a deal because I'm not training professionally. Or, there could be so many different versions of statements like that. And it just makes me sad because I know I used to buy into this way of thinking that basically you're not valid unless you've achieved these external labels or hit these markers in your training and career. And now I just don't believe that. Are those things nice? Do they mean something? Yes. But your experience as a dancer still matters and is valid, even if you don't end up attaining those certain external measures of success. That doesn't mean you didn't have success in your own way, or that you don't know what it means to struggle, or you don't know what it means to thrive and win and achieve, whatever that is for you. Success is going to look different for all of us, and that doesn't mean your journey wasn't worth something or worthwhile, or that your opinion isn't valid. Number 4, I used to believe that your level of technique as a dancer is the sole measure of how good you are as a dancer. And it's so understandable to think that way, especially with the way ballet training works, especially since a lot of us start from a young age, and even if you don't, this way of thinking is still normal to buy into, which is this prioritization of technique, which is great because it's obviously we start by learning the technique, especially in ballet. because once you learn technique, it gives you the ability to then express through the technique. So it is a foundation that we then use to be able to express our artistry. It's an important foundation. However, I have personally seen, the older I've gotten, a lot of dancers who are technically, they've got it going on. They are very good technically, but their dancing lacks soul. It doesn't have artistry or expression or authenticity to it. In other words, when I watch these dancers, I might feel impressed for a moment. I might feel in awe of what they can do, and the feelings stop there. I want to watch dancers who make me feel something. And oftentimes dancers who blend the artistry, the emotion, the expression with the technique are like, oh my gosh, some of the most stunning that I've seen. However, technique is not your only measure of how good or quote bad you are as a dancer. I don't even like those simplistic terms, good or bad, because guess what? They're so subjective. To one person, you could think a dancer is good. To another, you could think their dancer is bad. A bunch of dancers are probably looking at you, yes, you, the viewer or listener right now, thinking you're good, and then you think you're a bad dancer. So these labels are so basic, so simple, and they can never explain accurately the beauty of where you're actually at. And since art is a subjective thing, who are we to place objective labels on it? As if like a competition score and a 96 can accurately be like the scientific measure of how good or bad of a dancer you are. It can't. It's an objective score, or it seems objective, but it's subjective. So I don't even agree anymore with this idea of good or bad as if those can be accurate ideas. They're not. There's so much that goes into becoming a dancer and an artist, and technique is just one facet of that. So yeah, I just don't put it on the same pedestal I used to anymore, and my dancing has gotten a lot more enjoyable and interesting, at least for me to experience internally, and I hope interesting externally to watch. The fifth thing I used to believe that I do not believe anymore is that you become an artist when you become a professional dancer. This was an interesting thing for me to contemplate in college. I remember actually starting to ask myself the question of when do I call myself an artist? When can I? Can I? What makes a person an artist? I remember thinking about that label and being very uncomfortable with calling myself that. And now what I believe is that a label or a contract, it doesn't make you an artist. Just like things like money or certain possessions don't inherently make you truly happy. They can give you moments of happiness, but it's not the inherent cause. Being an artist, to me now, and the way I understand it, and I'll read how I wrote it down because I thought through it, it's to be an artist is to engage with movement with an autonomous intention to express something beyond the movement itself. So there's some autonomy, some choice involved in what you're expressing, maybe how you're expressing, and that intention is inherently, I think that's what makes us an artist, is when you generally approach your dancing not like it's exercise or like you're just trying to hit certain markers with your technique. That would make it more like a sport. I think being an artist involves doing the technique, yes, but carrying an intention into the movement to express something that is beyond the movement itself. And that was a big shift for me because I think, wow, doesn't that open the doors for so many people to now play around with becoming an artist without waiting for something, for some label to then make them feel like, okay, now I can call myself that. It's like, no, it's an approach. It's an approach. So why not examine how, or experiment with how you can be an artist now, regardless of where you're at with your technique or level in dance. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I've actually been thinking about making a video, please let me know if you want me to do this, on how ballet, I actually have this belief that ballet is kind of like a cult, okay? And I have some really good friends. We've talked about this a lot and we're all like, oh my gosh, yes, people need to talk about this. So I've got some juicy thoughts and opinions and I think some value to share in that conversation. I've started mapping out the video, but let me know if you want me to comment on that, because I think this video is a great precursor into like, questioning the belief systems that are very common in at least the ballet world. That's where I come from, but probably, I mean, if you do another genre, you could comment and let me know if these are similar in your genre. But yeah, I think this video kind of lends itself to saying like, all right, if there are these belief systems that are very commonly spread in the dance world, could there be some other things going on culturally that are kind of culty? Okay. So I have a lot more to say on that. I know that was just a little tease, so let me know if you want to comment on it. And also, if you'd like individual support in overcoming, your own limiting beliefs, or maybe you've got things going on in your mind like insecurities, self-doubt, perfectionism, comparison, things like that. That is what I specialize in helping dancers overcome through the Confident Dancer Coaching Program. So if you'd like individual support in overcoming those mental challenges and blocks that are sucking the joy out of dance for you and also making it hard to perform your best, then this program is great for you. So you can learn more about that and apply for a free 30-minute consultation in the link below. And that's it. Let me know if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.